Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3, set 2 of the Smiskin Community Smite League. I'm your caster Sam, and joining with me today is Rob again. The Dream Team's back.
So we're going into this new fresh set of teams here. We've got Chum Bucket and Choo Train. We've got some very regular bands coming out, very strong picks of Persephone, Freya, that sort of thing. And we're going to see 2 junglers picked up here, Arachne versus Darji.
I believe you have Choo on the left-hand side, and you have Chum Bucket on the right. Very interesting pick going on the left with the Ares, and potentially a Umoja, but quickly slipping over to that Ram, making that very strong duo lane strong early on.
We'll see Kukulkan and Artemis picked up. I think Kukulkan is going to be a very strong mid laner. They've got very strong clear, and I think Artemis might struggle against the run perhaps, but it depends if they can get that early pressure tool and get Artemis to that late game. We will see a Umoja ban and Sobek coming out.
I think the Umoja ban is a very interesting pick in this due to the fact that I don't think she's that good in solo, and they've already got that support Ares locked in. A very powerful early game god with a lot of damage and high kill potential. But if you shut him down early, he struggles from playing behind.
And we're going to see Aphrodite and Camzots be banned as well, and a Mulan picked. A very strong solo lane presence there at the moment.
Mulan, like Ares, is a very good, powerful early game, and she scales very well into that mid game with all the adaptions you can have to your abilities, powering them up, changing them, and adding more to them.
It'll be interesting to see Raijin fighting into the Kukulkan. I think they're both pretty evenly matched. It depends on who can get their damage off. And we're going to see Set picked up as well, presumably in the solo lane. I think.
I would imagine so. With a Kuzumbo support, potentially. I think the matchup between the Raijin and Kukulkan's going to be very interesting because, of course, the Raijin's got that almost teleport-like dash to escape, whereas the Kukulkan has to rely on a slight speed up. Same with the Artemis. You've got a few people there which, in the grand scheme of things, don't have a safe escape, and they're going to have to play their positions very carefully with their positioning, making sure they've got a good distance between them and the damage dealers to try and have that window to escape in.
That's the thing with both Cuckoo and Raijin, with those big teamfight ultimates that can just shred people. But obviously Cuckoo offering more area denial with that tornado, whereas Raijin's more straight damage, and again he's got that dash to keep him safe.
I think the going into your junglers, you got that Darji versus Arachne. Arachne is a very, very powerful jungler, especially with the steroids she has on her, especially with that ult she can use to try and chase down or catch up on top of any targets trying to escape. But on the flip side of that, you have the Darji, which has that ultimate to try and force people out of position and has the ability to teleport to either an enemy or ally god to just close that distance a little bit more.
Definitely, it'd be interesting to see both the Darji ult and also the Ares ult coming through for those big team fight combos, especially with things like the Raijin damage. Set can just pop off at some point, and obviously Rama's arrows. And likewise on the other side as well, they've got some big combos if those chains land.
So as we have on the order side, we have the Choo team Choo, and on the Chaos side we have Chum Bucket. I believe Chum Bucket currently have two subs playing in on the ADC and support role, and Choo have a sub on their solo laner, the Set solo. I think.
I wonder if these subs will perhaps make a bit of a difference, because obviously the teams wouldn't have had too much time to practice with these subs. Maybe that'll change some of the team dynamics.
I like what Arachne's doing here, laying down the spiders so she can get the early assist on that blue buff to try and sustain that farm, and allows her to lay those down and run off onto another buff to keep the... so she still gets the XP and the credit for it, but can be somewhere else, potentially impacting that mid lane, especially into that Kukulkan, who is very easy to lock down in these early game fights with not having that speed up.
Definitely, and of course it'll help set, so he won't take quite so much damage from that first clear. Very useful utility.
I'll be interested to see what happens in these early game fights, especially around the duo lane with such a aggressive duo lane, especially from that Kuzenbo, which can shove you out of position, and that Ares with the chains that can not only deal high amount of damage but can lock you down with the slow they bring out as well, the slow and cripple.
I wonder if that Ares lands the chain on the Kuzenbo, he can't use his sumo push, which definitely shuts down a big part of his CC game. Could be dangerous.
And here we see an
Arachne blink in the mid lane. I think Cuckoo's going to get wrapped up, and he's going to get killed with that assist from Raijin.
That's the very powerful thing. When Arachne hits that level 2 position, she has the ability to sumo, well not sumo, wrap them in that web and lock them down so they're just free to take damage.
See, Artemis is very low and it's a very risky position. And even in the solo lane as well, Set's getting a very low here, very aggressive characters. Mulan and Set obviously always trying to duel here and there. I think Mulan, after sort of pushing off that wave, is going to try and take the totem of Q.
Meanwhile, some return damage onto the Raijin mid laner for Choo to try and even out the gold loss and the XP loss in that lane, to try and secure or make it more even compared to what it used to be.
You see that Arachne's hit level 3 and so has got that extra ability, and we're going to see Artemis go down here in the duo lane as just those chains hit and they do so much damage in those early levels. You're going to see an XP lead on the Choo side.
And that's what it's like with the Ares in the very early game, is you have those chains to lock down the person, or in this case the ADC, and they lock them down, they cripple them, and they're a lot easier to hit, especially without the boots on the Artemis and how immobile she can be.
Yeah, definitely that lack of a sort of strong escape tool for Artemis is really her biggest downside, and so they're really capitalizing on that with the Ares Rama matchup. So it'll be up to Kuzenbo to try and get those plucks, try and help Artemis get back onto the XP.
Even with the Kuzenbo push, it doesn't necessarily have to go for the under tower or push into an aggressive position. They can just shove them off and get them away from their ADC to give them that space. Meanwhile, in solo, we have a very aggressive play by Mulan. Mulan is a very powerful god in the early game, and she's showing how much pressure she can permit into this lane.
Yeah, and I think as well with Mulan's spear, she can heal up. So I think that she might out-sustain this set as the solo lane moves on. Just got to be very careful here.
So as we go through the match, we can see the supports are slowly transferring over to that mid lane to try and support the mid laner more, potentially get some ganks, just sort of clear bus, get some farm while they can. We see the Kuzenbo helping with the red buff, and the Ares sneaking in for some back camps, get some XP.
And you see Rama's going to pick up the kill on the Artemis. I was thinking he's very pushed up. Maybe he's just trying to press the advantage with that XP lead. There's a few extra levels.
You can see on the left-hand side, Rama's ult is down, so I would have thought they pushed him low, pushed him under the tower, and used that ability to sort of lock them down and further try and secure that lead in that lane.
See a big fight in mid lane. Cuckoo, still without boots, is going to go down there, very immobile, and Kuzenbo is going to get caught out, but will sumo push to pick up the kill there.
In a way, I think that's a good thing. You want to try and lock down that area. He's pushing behind as much as you can because he will scale heavily into that heavy damage items to further lock down your potential. His only downside is he doesn't have that mobility to escape. So if you can lock him down, he becomes a very squishy target and a very slow target for a support.
Oh, and if you notice as well, Daji got the credit for that kill and put it to level 5. So obviously she's got those chains ready if she needs them for a lot of control.
Either to try and force someone out of the position, or even just as a zoning tool to try and push people away from her.
Definitely, of course, making it untargetable throughout. Arachne's looking to make some plays in the solo lane. Mulan's a bit pushed up, but she's going to ult, just try and slow their advance while she retreats.
I wouldn't be surprised with the healing they have, they might try and push this. But Mulan's managed to turn it and get the kill onto the set.
That was a very nice arrow shot there, just to drag him under tower, take that one hit, and he was already very low. Ares is going to try and make something happen, but I think as the team comes over to support Mulan, they're just going to back off.
With the,
Again, you see that the Rama in the duo lane is just bullying Artemis at this point under the tower, and does pick up the kill there and the tower. So just making really strong dominant plays in that duo lane.
If I was on Team Chumbuck here, I would try and look for potentially a gank to try and shut down this Artemis this Rama as much as possible. If we see a team fight here over by the Fire Giant, both supports use their ults to try and lock down team, and the solo laner has been taken down and lost their advantage in that lane. But on the flip side, for a solo lane and for a mid, I think that is absolutely worth it.
You can see Daji go up on the power line, get some plucks. Maybe Set has bees and he might just live, but he doesn't, and he's going to go down while he's under tower.
A very, I wouldn't say clean, but a very good fight for Team Chumbucket there, taking what they can and taking a 2-for-1 off the Choo, off Team Choo.
Although I can't help but think if Daji perhaps used those chains in that 4v4, I think it was, maybe that would have had a slight bigger impact perhaps, but just getting the kills you can is really important.
Being able to try and lock down that Raijin and being able to secure another kill on the opposition solo laner for losing your solo laner, so neither farm gained on each. I think it's a very powerful position, especially with how well this Raijin scales into late game and the damage he can output.
See people moving towards the Gold Fury now, showing a bit of interest in it, perhaps trying to get the oracles. Artemis has got caught taking an XP buff, but will use the boar there, but just gets out dueled as Rama beats it. Kuzenbo a bit out of position here, but he will have the defenses to save himself. Big ult coming through from Cuckoo, Raijin's very low, will get picked up there.
Very clean there by the Daji, managing to avoid the...
Ares with a big ult, but we are going to see some beads coming through. There might just be enough damage from Rama to make some plays. Arachne goes into a web, just looking to chase down those last couple of targets. And Mulan will go down as well, as Rama is just starting to pop off at this point, as he's hit level 10 already.
A clean fight there for Choo, taking what they can and only really losing their mid laner, a 1-for-3. And with a slight clean up on the back end of that with the I think his name. Just taking the fights where they can and sort of limiting Chumbucket's potential into this match.
Definitely, they got those picks and they have taken that objective. Now they're just going to look to back out. They don't need to fight here, as Chumbucket have respawned and will try and clear off some stragglers. But they will get out.
Meanwhile, the Arachne's aggressing onto the Artemis again in that mid lane, just locking her down with those steroids and not making sure she can't go anywhere. But we have the
Daji on the Raijin, getting him very low.
Daji trying to make a return play there, try and pick up another kill for them.
Oh, he will go down to the Kuzenbo's Nene Cafe there. Nene Cafe there. It's a very nice bounce there to get him while he was under tower. You see the Kuzenbo has gone for the damage boots as well, So maybe trying to play a bit more aggressively with those Kappas.
I'll be interested to see how the supports build into this game, whether they go for more your original defensive-based items or try and go for more damage-based to sort of fight off against the team. Darji caught out of jungle by the Arachne. Falls down to the tick damage from her heal.
And we're also going to see a gank in this mid lane. Perhaps with that Rama just constantly putting out damage now. Level 12, he's got a big XP level lead against the enemy team. Same with the Arachne here, and she's going to pick up a kill here perhaps with the the Artemis does go down. Does get caught by the Cuckoo's whirlwind. Will take some tick damage there, but will get out, and we'll probably just heal that back up. Ares with the big blink ult here, and probably will pick up the Kuzenbo. He's just got his CC immunity down from that ult.
Again, using those chains to lock down that Kuzenbo and stopping the dash that he could have done to try and escape. Meanwhile, the mid and jungler are trying to make a play onto the ADC here. As the solo laner tries to fight onto the very low set on the tower.
I think that was a bit of a sort of desperate play there from Darji, just trying to get something with that ultimate. Probably knew she was going to go down, but that's unfortunate. I think, there's a lot of grouping in this mid lane, tier 2.
I would like to see the Mulan try and move around and help support her team in this position after having that powerful lead into solo, but as you can see now, the Arachne's trying to come in for the gank on her and might just lock her down, especially with that set coming in from base.
Definitely a 2v1 is always a tricky fight, and Arachne will pick up that kill. Like you say, perhaps Mulan would be have more impact with grouping with the rest of the team, because she's keeping up with that XP.
Especially with how dominant she's been into the solo lane, pushing down this set and forcing the issue and try and get a lead for her team. She just needs to transfer that into a team fight.
Raijin did pick up a kill, but he will go down to the Kuzenbo there again with those damage items. Arachne again just focusing Artemis at this point because she's so far ahead, and as soon as she wraps you up, you've got no chance. Rama will pick up the Kuzenbo in the backline there as a sort of return kill as he tries to escape. And we did also see Pyromancer go the way of Choo as well. Starting to claim more objectives now, start to
just trying to push their lead across the map. Even with this, they now have a gold lead of about 1,200-ish across the board for each player. And that XP difference, especially from the probably the ADC lane and the jungler, and potentially even support, having that lead over their oppositions, just shows that Choo are doing some very effective farming here and just trying to take control of the map where they can.
She sets a little bit out of position in this right side jungle. Might get caught out, although Ares will come over to try and peel for him. And in fact, they'll try and re-engage onto this Darji. And with those chains, she's not going anywhere.
Sat there trying to just proxy a wave, try and force it to stop the minions coming towards that Mulan to help push towers. But meanwhile, big team fight happening in the right-hand side jungle with the Raijin falling. And the Mulan and the Kuzenbo trying to make something work against this Ares and set.
So difficult to try and out-damage that. Try and out-damage the set while he's going. And we will see the Kuzenbo go down.
And there you can see the Arachne's mobility there in the ultimate, just being able to chase down any target over the top. The Darji blinking in, potentially trying to pick up some stragglers. Picks up the set there and potentially trying to go for that Ares in the distance.
Although she does have to be careful for the Arachne chasing it down. She will ult in response to it to try and pick up the Arachne, but instead is just going to use it to try and escape. Although Rama is gonna tag her and just lock her down.
Very good plays there with Rama, just body blocking her into the wall, stopping her from escaping and just being able to still deal damage and bring up the bonus from the Arachne to help lock them down. Meanwhile, here the blue team is just trying to get the farm they can as they jump out and potentially go back to base and try and spend the gold lead they have.
Here we go, so Arachne starting the Primal Fury. I think it's a bit of a risky move as Chum Bucket are fairly close, but they do so much damage at this point.
just trying to push it enough to stop them doing it, and that Raijin just staying a little bit too long, taking a little bit too much damage from that Gold Fury there, making it a prime
Aries
target.
going all the way to try and get this Cuckoo. He will get pushed into the tower, and he's really going for it. And he will pick up the Cuckoo there with his flames. He'll probably die for it, but I think that's a worthwhile trade of support for a mage.
I think it's like you said, it's a very good heads-up play there. The Aries realizing what they can get out of this situation, and even when the team comes round.
Oh, and there you go. Perhaps it was all a big distraction as Rama does take the Primal Fury.
So not only do you lose your life for your support, but you get a kill on the mid laner, you also get the Gold Fury. I think that's absolutely worth it.
Now we're going to have a big collapse here, and I think Rama's in a bit of trouble. He will take this guy to try and avoid it. So they'll just be waiting for him as soon as he comes back down. Missed the bow and arrow, but Artemis will pick that up with the ball.
Meanwhile, the Arachne's now coming in to try and see what they can make work. Going to see if she can try and pick up that Mulan on the back line, but goes instead for the Artemis.
And Raijin comes over just to be sure.
Very heads-up play there for the Arachne. Just gain that 4-man there in the left-hand side, just further slowing down Chum Bucket's sort of push on that left side to see if they can try and mitigate some of their losses.
You know, she's 7 levels ahead of some of them, so she could just 1v3 and be fairly healthy with that heal steroid. Very formidable and scary character at this point in the game.
So Arachne's doing heavy work in this jungle position with a 16-0-5 stat line at the moment. Just slowly just bringing down the opposition and just forcing them to struggle to play into her, especially with that lockdown potential, the sort of wrap and the heal she can get from her auto attacks.
See a bit of grouping around the Fire Giant now. Perhaps they'll look to start it off, or at least force a fight around the objective. Chum Bucket do know they're doing it, and I think they are looking to find a solid engage here. Although you see Arachne just running at them and trying to scare them off.
You see the Kujimbo there trying to keep them in that Fire Giant to try and get them to the take as much damage as possible, but Choo do get the Fire Giant, and now they're going to see if they can try and turn this fight here.
Artemis throws out the ball, but I think it's too late. Most of the sort of frontline presence from Chum Bucket have already died. Cuckoo will get caught out by the chains. It's very immobile god, and also Artemis was picked up near the solo lane.
Just being able to lock down those gods that only have their escape as a steroid and movement speed, with the heavy cripple being able to slow them down on a very short cooldown, just not allowing them to escape like most.
There we go, we're just going to see some old-fashioned sieging now. Ares can take it, and the minions are just arriving now, so I think they're just going to keep pushing as much as they can. Look to threaten the Phoenix, but probably not go too hard at it right now.
They've they've got the Pyromancer there, so they're going to go back, spend their gold, and speed back to lane, and probably siege that left-hand side Phoenix, the more important one once you've got this Fire Giant. "18 minutes on the clock, you have 35-13, and Choo are showing a very dominant performance, mainly centered around this jungler at the moment. Just really showing what they can output and how much damage they can do to the opposition.
Yeah, and a very big gold and XP difference in these two teams now, so it's very tricky for Chum Bucket to bring this one back. I think they've just got to be careful, try and pick up XP where they can. Rama's going to find Artemis out of position, and he's going to beat preemptively a bit too early because Tusky will still hit him, but he does too much damage and will take Artemis down.
I think he was beating a trap there, a very well placed trap, but unfortunately the Artemis still falls to the Rama.
And it must be so tricky at that point if you can't win the 1v1, so you've got to try and group as a team and catch people out, which is easier said than done when you've got characters like Ares who are there to peel for you.
Very difficult position now that Chum Bucket are in, trying to find farm where they can. Unfortunately, they're just getting caught out on the...
Although Kuzumbo does pick up a kill there, but Arachne is coming in, got to be careful of that. Palau under tower could be impactful if she manages to pluck both of them. Although they've got so much shields at this point.
Yeah, and Arachne with the movement speed being able to lock down people as they try to escape, get back to Fountain, get that healing. Very aggressive roll in there from the.
Oh, and
Rama.
Rama picking up Artemis just as she gets back into Fountain. It's a little too slow. I think this left Phoenix will go down. Choo does what he can, but will get taken out as well.
And
I
with the
think we're
Tia
perhaps
side
looking at a
happening,
Titan push.
I can see that being GG there with the Tia side coming through, the damage on the left-hand Phoenix and the right-hand Phoenix slowly falling.
Yeah, you see set left, the right Phoenix, you realise we can just take Titan now, be fine.
And that's very...
will do what he can, but I think we'll see game one go to Choo Train.